We've got an amazing Week 3 matchup here, where the Atlanta Falcons fly up to the Detroit Lions home stadium at Ford Field as they take on Jared Goff and company. And this is going to be an amazing game. This might not be the only time these two teams play. I think both these teams are playoff bound. Falcons came off a great comeback victory. It's awesome to see them actually coming back in the fourth quarter compared to previous seasons. And Detroit had a tough game against Seattle, another shootout as well, where they barely lost in overtime. But honestly, could go down as one of the better games of the entire season. Jared Goff's been playing really well. They have gotten banged up a little bit. It's kind of want to be the first thing that I address here, especially on the running back side as well. David Montgomery, he is day-to-day. He's got a nasty thigh bruise, it seems, and that's going to be something to watch here throughout the entire week. From initial reports, it sounded like he was going to miss several weeks, and I think that's even what David Montgomery said. So we'll have to see kind of how his status is. But I do think that is a big blow overall to the the Detroit Lions offense, because they also have been struggling. Taylor Decker did not play last week, and I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to say Hala Vatia, their right guard, also got hurt during the game. I don't believe he came back in, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. We talked about this with the Browns a little bit. The injury bug normally can kind of go around, and Jahmyr Gibbs brings a lot to the table. It is still his third NFL game. I'm very curious to see, and I hope he doesn't have a welcome to the NFL explosive type game against the Atlanta Falcons. But what was great about having Montgomery is he can be your consistent, more consistent running back, can run between the tackles, while Jahmyr Gibbs is definitely that gadget guy. Losing Montgomery, if that is what happens, does absolutely change this offense, because I think when Gibbs is on the field, I don't think they can't utilize him as much as they would like in certain scenarios.
Yeah, I think giving Gibbs a bigger workload has its positives and negatives, right? So I think that it makes that offense harder to defend in the sense that you don't necessarily know what they're going to do, but it also makes it easier to defend because you don't have to really worry about him pounding it between the tackles as much, just because he is a little bit on the smaller side. I want to say he's like 5'11" to 12, which isn't exactly the guy you want pounding the rock between the tackles. Usually you want those guys well over 220. So that for me, I think there's positives and negatives there, but I do think Detroit poses an interesting threat. To me, this is the first team that can really threaten the Falcons in both levels or both facets of the game in terms of the Falcons defense versus the Lions offense. I think Jared Goff's having a really good year already. This Lions offense showed that they can move the ball up and down the field against the Seahawks. They did make a couple crucial mistakes there. There at the end, throwing the pick six to kind of, I know they ended up making it to overtime, but that really set them back. And so for me, I think that this is a really interesting game. I think both of these teams are competing for their division title. This could potentially factor into seeding coming into January. So this is a really big one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, I want to comment when I meant with the David Montgomery and how they utilize Jahmyr Gibbs is you can have both guys on the field and then, as you said, don't know if it's going to be a run play or a pass play, because with Montgomery, but with Jahmyr Gibbs, it does just kind of takes away just that extra weapon, that ability. He might have to be more of a traditional running back. He can still run out of the backfield and everything. So that would definitely be something to watch. Also, too, another news today, I'm just seeing now, C.J. Gardner-Johnson and also James Houston got put on IR as well. So that's just another blow to that defense. Then they just had a couple other guys that were just banged up, and so things to monitor. Monroe St. Brown looked like his ankle got rolled up on. Aiden Hutchinson also.
No, he left with cramping.
No. Well, there was something I thought that he got rolled up on in the second quarter, something like that. It wasn't cramping, I thought.
He didn't come back in due to cramping. That's what was on the injury report.
Are you talking about Aiden Hutchinson or Monroe St. Brown?
Monroe St. Brown.
Oh, okay. I know he did get rolled up on earlier in the game as well. So the cramping I did not know about. So but those are just going to be things to watch as well with his ankle. Correct in the comments if I'm wrong. Sorry, I thought based off my sources that he did also have an ankle injury. But just those things going on in Detroit. it's going to have to monitor the injury bug as well, just on just some of the key players. But then on the flip side, with Atlanta, not too many injuries really of report coming off a big comeback win against Green Bay. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, and that running offensive in that offensive line in the running game has just been phenomenal. They showed some vulnerabilities in the passing game. We talked about that on our Sunday Night Live show. But in the fourth quarter, though, they just shut that Packers defense down. Everything came to fruition. It was the defense that we'd all kind of imagined, like based off the free agency, and they were able to get so much pressure on them. And on the flip side, then the passing game kind of came to life as well. I think a lot of that did have to do with just grinding that defense down. It just over and over again, just pummeling them. And so in that fourth quarter, they were able to dominate. And I love that style of football. It just wear them out, and then when they're wearing out, just like keep sticking your foot on their throat. And so it's going to be fun to watch. This is going to be a good game. The thing for the Falcons is just to have a balanced passing attack as well. Don't need Desmond Ridder to throw for 350 yards like how we're seeing some of these quarterbacks do, but just being able to have that balanced attack, come out with a quick start, have a good passing offensive line, because we know we can run the ball really well against most anybody. And I think that we're going to be able to run the ball well against the Detroit. So far between these two games, let me double check here on that. They've had to only give up 172 rushing yards. So one of the better ones in the league so far. I think we can increase that as we're one of the better running offenses in the league. So I've been talking a lot during this. I know it's the Falcons game, so I've been breaking down the lines a little bit more, just studying it. What do you think each team has to do to win, and who do you think is going to be the winner in this one?
So for me, I think the Lions, they need to make it a track meet and really put the Falcons in a position where they have to throw the ball to keep up. Because if they allow it to be a close, low-scoring game, then the Falcons are going to do what they did kind of to the Packers, and like you said, just grind them down, wear them out, and then come the fourth quarter, they'll be hitting hard play actions and things like that. For me, I think the Lions, they need to come out, score points early, and put the Falcons in a position where they have to throw the ball, and then that kind of takes away the threat of the run game, and then those pass rushers will be able to pin their ears back and get after Desmond Ridder. We haven't really seen him in that situation yet, and because of that reason, I think the Lions are going to be able to do that, and I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions on this one.
Okay. I like it. Our first disagreement here, I got to go with the Falcons here. I'm looking at just kind of everything with just what I'm presuming the injury report might be. I'm also then, too, just looking at the momentum of each team. The Lions are a little bit more desperate here, but I also feel if the Lions' offensive line is a little bit weaker as well, then also not having Montgomery, I think A.J. Terrell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think that's going to be an amazing matchup. I also believe Jeff Okudah is scheduled to be coming back this week to be playing, and so that's going to be something to monitor as well. So I think that's going to help. That's obviously going to help a lot in the secondary because Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond have been playing well. It's going to be a great just kind of chess match between both teams. I'm really supporting both teams. Honestly, definitely rooting for the Falcons more, obviously, but the Lions end up winning, and then they end up going on and having a really good season as well. I'll be very happy about that for them. I just have a feeling, though, I think the Falcons are going to be able to exploit a lot on this Detroit Lions defense. I think they're going to be able to win in the trenches on both sides of the ball, even though the Lions do have good offensive line and defensive line. It's going to be a tough matchup, but I'm going to side with the team that seems to just be a little bit better in the trenches, in my opinion, and I think that's going to be the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay. Yeah, I think this will be a close matchup, in my opinion. I just think that the Lions are going to be a little too explosive on the offensive side of the ball. One guy that I think is going to be the X factor is going to be Sam Laporta. He's had a great first few games, and for me, he just kind of completes that receiver room with the Lions. So I think they just have too many weapons. I think Jahmyr Gibbs getting more snaps is going to end up being a good thing for them in the long run. And while they might not have the true balanced attack with David Montgomery, you spent the 12th pick on Jahmyr Gibbs for a reason. So,
like that, we all know that he's going to end up being the guy. But maybe this is the earlier transition, and so I hope not. I hope it's week 4 when Jahmyr Gibbs has his breakout game.
Yeah,
but we'll just have to see. So it's fun too. It's actually fun to actually pick the Falcons confidently to win. So
yeah. But let's go ahead. Let's wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. And while you're down there, let us know who you think is going to win this game. Is it going to be the Atlanta Falcons or the Detroit Lions? Let us know down below. Other than that, we will see you guys next time.